Alright, let's see if this is working this time. This is my first time going live, so we'll see how this goes. But we're going to unbox some Kaiser Willys parts I just received. So bear with me. Like I said, it's my first time doing this. So I'm trying to make sure I've got everything set up right. Alright, let's see if this is working this time. This is my first time going live, so we'll see how this goes. Turn this down here. Like I said, it's my first time, so I'm trying to make sure everything's set up right. I think we're good to go. So yeah, I just wanted to try doing a live. Never done it before, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. Just got some parts from Kaiser Willys. Got the new catalog. You might want to check that out. I'm not sponsored by them, but just got, like I said, got some parts from them. Got the new catalog. It's kind of cool because there's some stories up front, some owners' stories and pictures. A lot of pictures from, I guess, from their photo contest. But I got some parts for the 48. Gonna open them up, make sure we got everything here, and talk about where we're at next with the Jeep. So let's see. I just dropped the box. Clutch release cable. Not ready, getting close to ready to fire up for first time, but not ready to drive yet. So clutch release cable, that'll be easy enough to get installed. Make progress there. Fuel pickup or fuel sending unit, got a new one. The old one, I may have been able to reuse it. It was the old, I believe that was cork. It was just in kind of rough shape, but also I'm going to 12 volt, so I also have in here my 12 volt fuel gauge. So a new sending unit, new fuel gauge. You'll see a video later of installing those, of course. So that's going to be exciting to me, at least. You know what this is? This is my parking brake cable. So I'm kind of stoked about that actually working. Even my 2014, my handbrake don't work. The cable on that's all rusted, I think, and so it's going to be cool. Get this put in, get this working. If you watched my earlier videos, I did clean and redo the whole emergency brake drum, and I cleaned up the cane. Everything's ready to go except this. So that'll be nice to get in as well. Ooh, unless I snapped myself in the face with it. That was close. I also have I've got the crank shaft nut along with the woodruff key. So I've got the woodruff key so I can get the crank pulley on, got the crankshaft nut. There's also 2 pieces of candy in there actually. So free candy from Kaiser Willys. Thank you. And that is all in this shipment. I do have a new inner tie rod end coming. That one's back ordered, but I don't need that anytime soon, so I'm okay with that. The existing one was really loose, a lot of play, and there's play probably in different points of the steering. That was the main culprit though. It was just pretty sloppy loose. So got one of those on the way. Got the new catalog, so who knows what else I'll be ordering. But I'm excited to have these parts, and that's stuff I can get out there and easily make progress on. Like I said, we're getting pretty close to first startup and make sure that engine's going to crank and run. So we got a ways to go. I do have a new radiator out in the shop. We've got a ways to go in the sense of we built the positive battery cable to the starter solenoid and the cable from the starter solenoid to the starter. So we've got to do the rest of the wiring, at least for a temporary startup. Either a push button or maybe I'll pull the ignition switch out of the dash and put that in the engine compartment temporarily so we can be up front while we're working on it and fire that up. And got to get a new battery. But a couple little things I need to go probably run to the store today and pick up is a cable stop. If you watched the last video, we got the carburetor in, we got the choke cable connected, and I didn't have a cable stop for the throttle cable, for the PTO throttle, which I have PTO. out of the transfer case. I don't have the shaft or the gearbox in the back, so I have PTO and the lever, but it'll probably never get used because I won't have a need for it. It's going to be a driver, not a, I'm not going to plow and stuff with it. So so we'll see how that goes, but I do want to at least get that throttle cable fully assembled and locked in right and make sure it does work. It'll be nice to have that throttle for warm-ups on cold days and stuff, so want to get that all finished up. I'm pretty excited. You can't tell by when I get excited I start talking faster, and I always talk with my hands. That's kind of an ongoing joke around here, but pretty stoked about how this is going. Kind of the story behind this old Jeep, if you haven't watched them all. I've wanted a flat fender since I was a teenager. When I was a kid, you look in the back of comic books and a military surplus little ad, $50, which was probably a urban myth, but I don't know that you could ever get them out of a catalog like that. But I've wanted one since I was a little kid. Then I did spend quite a few years in the military and just always have loved the flat fenders. So I think it was about 46, 47 years old I finally got one. Drove it for a few months first year I got it, and there was issues with the engine. We did change out the timing gear. The fiber timing gear was cracked. When we opened it up, it literally fell in half. So we replaced that, got it running. It had a rod bearing bad, changed that out, got it running. Like I said, I drove it for a few months. There's some old videos on my channel, some of the throwback videos, if you look at those. That's the first year I had it, the first year I drove it. Then we pulled the motor. I live in the north end of Kent County, Michigan. I'm a couple of towns north of Grand Rapids. So we took it down to Grand Rapids. There was a specialty shop that they worked on old motors. So had the engine rebuilt. I do my own work as much as I can, but I'm not a mechanic. I do our own, oil changes, brakes, alternators, starters. I don't tear into motors typically. So my mechanical abilities, knowledge are somewhat limited. I'm shade tree mechanic, I guess. I try to do as much as I can. So when I had the motor rebuilt, what I did was I asked them to do the cam and the valves. I didn't want to mess with that. That's further than I was willing to jump into at the time. But I told them, don't do anything else. Just give me all the parts that would be for the rebuild. So me and some of my friends here and there, buddies, have come over and helped me out quite a bit. I appreciate all of their help. We put in the crank, the pistons, rings, all of that. We built out the rest of it up to the point we're at now. Now the motor is all together. It's all the add-ons. We're getting on, got the starter on a while back, switching it to 12 volts, so I didn't put the generator back on. We got the latest thing we got was the carburetor. Just a video or two ago you saw that. So still got to get an alternator bracket kind of figured out, get an alternator on it, and coolant, everything coolant, and get the fuel back together. We're getting close now that I've got the sending unit and the new fuel gauge. I still got to source a 12 volt gauge for the dash. So I want to go into 12 volt now. I want some people will say you want amps and volts, but I like having that voltmeter, make sure I'm getting that 14 charge, and when it's running, whatever. And gonna have to change out a lot of bulbs. Got to figure out all the 12 volt, and then got to rewire the whole thing. So I ramble. If you haven't figured that out too, as my thoughts go, I ramble. But my goal right now is, back to the, let me jump back, the story of once we took that apart, it sat, I've got a daughter, and she was into sports, and I was coaching her, assistant and helping coaching, and through her soccer years. Then she got into volleyball, and at the point she started getting into competitive level, junior high, especially into high school, I gladly put this Jeep on the back burner. She was number one priority, being there for her sports. So we watched her through sports, and she did great. Had a great time doing all that. Had no issues with putting that Jeep on the back burner. Fast forward, she graduated high school, done with sports. She's in college now. Now it's time to get the old Jeep going again. So over the last year, we've slowly, more so in the last couple months, started really getting into getting this thing back together. So the goal at this point is get it back together, running, driving, then street legal. And I want to be able to drive it and enjoy it. I'm never planning on restoring this to like original and museum quality. I have other Jeeps. We do a lot of off-road overlanding. We used to do a little bit of rock crawling and stuff like that. Go out to the sand dunes now and then. But we do a lot of overlanding, and that's on my other channel, R Level Overland, RLVL Overland. So that's our overlanding channel with our modern Jeep. We really live like the Jeep culture, and we live the Jeep culture. We're all in, so to speak. So we do a lot of that Jeeping. So with this Jeep, I want to be able to trail it. I don't want to worry about it getting scratched or whatever, and I want to do a lot of the work, continue to do a lot of the work myself. So that would include, once we get it running and driving and it can actually enjoy it, then I'll start working on the rust that I can do while it's drivable. You know, rust hole in the side panels, can cut those and weld them while it's sitting there and jump in and drive to the parts store if I need to. Now, down the road, I do want to pull the tub, flip it, redo the hat channels and the floor panels that are rusted. I do want to fix all the rust. With that, I also want to spray it myself. It ain't going to be professional. We did do a restoration on a military M416 trailer that we use for overlanding. That was the first time. Now I've rattle canned. Everybody's rattle canned. That was the first time I actually painted with a spray gun, and took a little figuring out the gun and the speed and the pressure and all the settings on it. Once we figured all that out, which my wife, she used to co-own and work at a business that did industrial spraying, so she wasn't the painter, but she did have a really good idea on how to do things. She's been out in the shop enough. She helped me get it all set up. She was huge. Honestly, I don't know how I would have done it without just running it all over the place, but with her help, we got everything set up properly, and we sprayed that tub ourselves OD green, and I was really happy. If you got close, you could see the flaws, but overall, it turned out really good. We were really happy with it. So I want to spray the Jeep myself when it comes to that time. So there's going to be spots that steel is cut out and welded new steel in and ground down, whatever. I'm not going to cake a bunch of Bondo on it. I do not want a Bondo buggy. So when we cut out that steel and weld the new steel in, we're going to grind that down, get it smooth as we can. You're gonna see stuff in it. It's a 75, 76-year-old Jeep. But the thing will be, I'm not gonna be afraid to take it out on trails. I'm not gonna go all Stan and J-Pet on it. Those guys are awesome. I love watching them. I'm not taking mine out and bouncing off rocks and stuff. I just want to try. We go up to the Manistee National Forest here a lot. We've got forest roads and seasonal roads we like to run. So trails. So it'll be trailed. It won't be rock crawled. And it's going to be mostly stock. If you walk up to it in a parking lot, as you're walking up to it, you're going to think it's completely stock. When you open the hood, you're going to see the alternator because it's going to be 12 volt. You're going to see the aluminum radiator. It's going to be modern radiator. They're just cheaper, more efficient. But other than that, I plan on keeping it mostly stock. So it's going to be fun, grocery getter, ice cream getter, parts runs, just running in town. We live just a couple miles out of our town here and out in the country. So it's going to be fun, just run around toy and going out to on trails occasionally, stuff like that. And so I don't want to be afraid to use it. I want to use it here on the property. We bought what used to be an old farm, 100-some-year-old house, and we have a couple barns, my shop, a big red barn, and we got some chickens and a little bit of property, so I'll be able to use it around the property as well. But that's the key. I want to be able to use it. I'm not building it for parades and shows, and it's not going to be all maxed out pretty. But like I said, I've wanted one since I was just a young teen. I have one. It's time to get it running and use it and enjoy it. So got these parts. Got some work to do, but that'll come in the videos that are upcoming, and hopefully you'll tune in and check it out. So I'm going to sign off for now, but if you tuned in, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give me a like, comments, any suggestions, questions. If you watch other videos and seen stuff that I'm doing right or wrong on the Jeep, don't be afraid to give me some tips. I'd appreciate that. But otherwise, yeah, please subscribe, give me a like, that helps, comments. I answer all the comments myself, and thanks for watching.